to A Well-Designed Business. My name is LuAnn Nigara, and I'm so glad you found this podcast. Together with my husband Vince and our partner Bill, we have grown our company WindowWorks from the ground up. So I know and I understand the challenges you face in running your interior design business. I also know that your talent alone isn't enough to ensure your success. So on this podcast, we talk about strategies and practical steps to help you grow your business. But make no mistake about it, we have our share of fun here too, mixed in with those aha moments that I love so much. This isn't fluff. Nobody has time for that. Whether you are a new interior designer or a seasoned designer, I am here to help you create and to manage the kind of interior design firm that you dream of. It's straight talk and it's action. Are you ready? Let's get started. Hi, welcome to A Well-Designed Business. We all know that social media can be a fantastic marketing tool, right? If you build up a big following, right? But what if you're struggling to gain a big number of followers? Is it still worth it? Well, my guest today, Megan Pisano, says the answer is 100% yes. With under 4,000 Instagram followers, Megan uses social media to grow her business through engagement and relationship building. So if, like many listeners, you don't have this massive following, get ready to listen and learn how you can use the power of Instagram to bring in real live leads to your business. Before we hear from Megan, let's take a minute to thank our show sponsor, Revel Woods. Revel Woods is your source for premium hardwood and resilient flooring. Using the Revel Woods Selector tool, you'll be able to find curated suggestions for each specific project based on criteria such as style, color, zip code, and usage. Because the species of wood that performs in a laundry room in Key West is not going to be the same species for a living room in Chicago. Know before you specify. And when you sign up for a free professional membership, you'll get access to exclusive discounts and referral benefits. Visit revelwoods.com to get started. Revel Woods is also a sponsor of LuAnn Live, happening this November 2023. Join me and meet John Dupre and Aubrey Fox. Learn firsthand from John and Aubrey how you can create more profit in your projects with Revel Woods Flooring. Learn more about LuAnn Live by going to luannlive.com. Okay, let's hear how Megan uses a small but engaged social media following to earn her new business. Hi, Megan. Thanks so much for joining me on A Well-Designed Business today.
Hi, LuAnn. Thanks for having me.
Megan, I'm, what's funny about this particular episode is that I love what almost seems like a contradiction to our expected thought process on your topic. So, for example, you emailed me over and you said that you wanted to talk about Instagram and your journey in, first of all, being a true hater of social media, as you described, and how you use Instagram today in your business. And what's interesting is most of the time, if I get a pitch like that, when I go to the Instagram, it's got 60, 70, 80,000 followers, right? And so there's something to be learned from that. But I love that your Instagram is your normal size Instagram. It's, 35, 3,700 followers or whatever it is. And so to me, that means that this is going to be a relatable episode for all of the regular of us out there that, are not making it our day job to be an influencer, right?
Yep.
It's just like, how can I access this tool to benefit my interior design business, right?
Right. Yep. Exactly.
Okay. So talk to me first. Start us off with that point of contention that you're like, 3 years ago, I really didn't want to get on the social media train and I didn't want to do this. Talk to me about that and what that means to you.
I didn't want to put myself out there. I didn't have any need to be on Instagram. I wasn't an interior designer back then. So this, going forward, I realized that it's probably one of the best marketing tools there is for us interior designers and for a lot of other entrepreneurs, especially because it's free.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Right? So now I know it's funny because everybody knows we have a little off-air chat before we get started.
Mm-hmm.
So, this is your second career, but you did also study interior design. So talk about your first career and what that transition was, and where did you go, and what does study interior design mean for you?
Well, I went to school for interior design, and then I graduated college, and I worked at B&B Italia, a furniture company in the city, for about 10 years. So I had a lot of knowledge of like furniture and then working with actual designers. So I kind of knew what I wanted to do and what I didn't want to do, which taught me a lot. I don't even know if Instagram was big 4 years ago anyway, but
Yeah.
and then I had my child, my baby, who's 5 now. He'll be 6 in November, and I started my own business because I couldn't be a stay-at-home mom anymore.
So you didn't want to travel back and forth into the city
No.
any longer, and you also didn't want to just be at home being a mom.
Right, correct. Yes. I have such creative energy that I needed to help people with their homes.
Okay. So I took it to mean that you worked in the furniture design and then went to design school, but that's your original degree. You just
Right.
didn't go into being an interior designer
Correct.
out of school. You went into that end of the business,
Yeah.
that end of the industry.
Correct.
Okay, interesting. And so this has been in your blood. This has been a dream of yours and a profession of yours that you've been one way or another skirting for the last 10, 15 years,
Correct.
right?
Yep.
Okay, cool. Okay. And so now the necessity comes. We're at home with our baby and we're saying, yeah, no, I'm not cut out for this. Okay. Love being a mom probably,
Yeah.
but not like 24/7,
Yeah,
right?
correct. Yes. It's hard.
It is. And those of us that have had that experience, we get it. I know that there's many others out there that have their baby and they're like, yeah, I could just do this. I don't really need to go back to work. And if my finances didn't require it, I would be happy. But there's others of us like they're like, not for me.
No,
right.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I love them, but in small doses.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I always found, Megan, that I always showed up as a better mother
Yeah.
because when I showed up, I was fully there. It was like, this is my time with you. And, it wasn't trying to do 16 things while trying to mother you. It was like I went to work, I did that. And then I came home and it was like, okay, from the time I get home at 5:30, 5 o'clock until your little eyeballs closed at 8 o'clock, I was 100% mom. And that felt like a better balance for me. Is that kind of the way your world is now?
Getting there. I come home at 4:30 and I still have emails and stuff to do, but then after dinner is my time to be with them. So still working on that.
Yeah, well, and of course it was easier for me because when I was raising my kids, there was no computer.
Yeah.
There was no email, there was no phone. And when you walked out the door, you were out. And I have to say, there have been a lot of, really wonderful things that technology has brought us, but I know that was a benefit to the moms of my generation.
Yeah.
We really were. We were unplugged from the office, period, end of discussion.
Yeah.
You didn't give your home number out to a customer, for crying out loud like that. Like, they didn't even ask you for it. That wasn't even on the table.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And there was no cell phone or texting or emailing. It was, see you the next day. We're closed, actually. And that means something.
Yeah. I guess it's not really like that anymore.
No, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So it becomes more an onus on you as a business owner with the mom hat to put those boundaries around things, right? And you're working on that now?
Yeah, I'm working on that. It's hard having your own business because I'm very I like to get back to people pretty fast, like within 12 hours or something. So when I'm with my kids, I'm trying not to do my phone, but like it's kind of there. But I need to work on that. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I would just say to you, find what works for you, but strive for it.
Yeah.
You won't regret it.
Yeah.
You won't regret it. You're not going to say, in 10 years from now, I wish I did 3 more emails. As trite as that sounds,
Yeah.
it's the
Yeah.
truth. You know what I mean? Actually. So, okay. So now we're going to talk about Instagram. So now you open up your interior design firm, you recognize Instagram for the potential value that it has. But personally, you're really not very called to share your life and your happenings on Instagram. So what happens there, Megan? What's the switch?
Well, I didn't have any photos to post at first, so I had my house photographed, and then I started posting those. And then really how I got known, I guess, or people who knew who I went on Facebook and went into every single mom's groups and was like, "Hi, I'm a new interior designer in town." And this was probably going on for 6 months, and then people started contacting me, and that's how I generated business to begin with. And then I really started doing Instagram, because then I had projects, and then I had photo shoots, and then I could post like really great pictures on there. My biggest thing is like professional photography on Instagram. Well, your iPhone can do it too, but that's a whole nother level. But yeah, so I just kind of got into it, and now I'm kind of addicted to it. But
So take us to that beginning. So there's somebody listening that's like, I'm just starting my interior design firm now. Wait, you went into the Facebook groups?
yes,
So talk about, what are we talking about? Like the moms group in Chatham
yeah.
or the whatever, what did you do?
So I joined like every single mom's group probably within 20 miles of Chatham, and they have certain like times of the week and days that you can post your business. So for example, like one of them was post every Monday your business. So every single Monday I have like a calendar. Every Monday I would post my business, or one other one every Sunday I would post my business. And I did this for like 6 months or so. Yeah, that was really how I started, getting business.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And so I didn't realize. So if you're living in Chatham, for example, the moms group in Florham Park or Morristown
Mhm.
allows you to join. It's
They
not
did.
just open to those.
Yeah,
Isn't that
you have to like
interesting?
answer some questions, but they did. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So you use this as a legitimate tactical strategy.
Yeah.
It wasn't like, oh, because here's what I hear all the time. Oh, I tried joining the groups and getting business from it, but it didn't work. And then I usually say, and what did you actually do? Well, I joined. Oh, good for you. You
Yeah.
joined. Yay.
You have to do something.
Exactly.
And
Exactly.
then when moms like ask in the Facebook group, "Oh, I'm looking for an interior designer," I would be like on top of that. I'd be like the first person
Bring
to
it.
post. I'm
Yeah.
here.
That's
So,
it.
yeah.
And when you say, like, for example, like if Chatham is like, you can post your business every Monday and Randolph is you can post it
Mhm.
every Tuesday, for legitimate, like, I know somebody listening is like, wait, do you do it every Monday? Like,
Mhm.
did you do it every Monday, or did you do it once a month Monday? Like, how often did you do it in each group that it was allowed
I would
in the beginning?
in the beginning probably every Monday or every other Monday. Um because once people see your name repetitively, they remember you.
Right.
So, yeah.
I love that, because you know what? I guarantee you somebody would think to themselves, I can't do it every Monday. That's weird. And people are going to think whatever. But not everybody is in the group every single week.
Right.
And, if you're not going to tell people about your business, who is,
Right.
right?
Yeah. You have to get out there
Okay.
somehow.
Yes. Yes. So I love that. And then, I love the idea of having the spreadsheet
Yeah.
of this town is this day and this
Yeah.
town is that day. And then, of course, I'm also imagining you had to set your phone for the notification. So if
Yep.
somebody did ask a question, you could see, oh, it has to do with design, right?
Absolutely. I would scroll like crazy, and then I would even messenger the person. I would
Ah, good
messenger
for
the
you.
person, say, "Hey, I just sent you a message, or I just commented on your post on Facebook. I just wanted to introduce myself." And people, they liked it because it was easier
Yes.
for them to see.
100%.
Yeah.
That's the thing. You were making, it's funny because, look, you've listened to the show. I
hmm
met you at Window Works and so forth. You know that I'm into sales and the process of sales. And the thing is that we know that there is a knee jerk reaction which can happen internally, which is, oh, that's a little weird. I'm putting myself out there too much. Like I shouldn't, put it in the post and DM the person, blah, blah, blah. But the reality is from the other side, this person has come in and said, I'm in search of an interior designer. So anything that you can do to make it easier for that person to connect with you, you're doing that person a service, right, Megan?
Correct. Yeah. I mean, so when I worked at B&B Italia, I was in sales too, so I have a little bit of
There you go.
a little bit of that. Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
That's what we call here on the show an Eric Award transferable skill, right? Like you.
Yeah. You have to sell yourself. That's like, to be an entrepreneur and interior designer, you really have to. You can't just sit back. Nothing's going to happen.
No, right. It doesn't come like they don't come knocking through the door saying, you look amazing.
Yeah.
Your designs are amazing, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So I love this strategy. And then what happens is it's in the beginning, it's the one project, then that one project turns into a referral to another project. And the next thing you know, we're off to the races, right?
Yep, exactly. Actually, the next thing you know, COVID hits. So, which, helped many interior designers, but sad as it was.
Yeah. Oh, no, 100%. I mean, there's the reality of the tragedy of COVID, but there's also the reality of the boom to our industry.
Yeah.
There's no denying either side of that coin, right? They're both are valid statements. Okay. So you start to build your business. You called out that professional photography was an investment you made from the beginning, starting with your own home.
Right.
I'm curious, do you use Raquel or Mike, any of the local photographers that I know?
They've reached out to me. But I use Megan Balcom. She's in Princeton area, but she's been my photographer for 3 years, maybe. So,
nice.
Yeah, she's great.
Okay. I have never heard of her or met her before.
Yeah, she's really easy to work with. We get along really well, which is.
And how do you say her last name again?
Balcom, Balcom.
All right, good. Well, I mean, Raquel Langworthy and Mike Von Tassel are two photographers from New Jersey that I've interviewed before, and they're both good friends, and I love their work. But you know what? There's enough for everybody.
Yeah.
There's enough business for everybody, right? So, okay, that's awesome. Okay, so now you are like, you've got some, it sounds like the trajectory is that we've got some projects under our belt. We're starting to amass a little library of photography, and now you take it to Instagram.
Yeah. Yep. Now I have content. That was like the whole thing. Content is super important.
Okay.
Yeah.
So now once we get to Instagram, you've got this content, but we have to, explain to us what you say is understanding what content to post. Like sift that through for us, Megan.
So basically I post every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. I used to do like wallpaper Wednesday or something with a W, like window treatments Wednesday, but I kind of scaled that back a little bit. It just has to be like consistent. So and it doesn't matter exactly what you post. Like if I post a photo of a bedroom, I won't post a photo of a bedroom again. Like I'll just do something else. Like, yeah. And posting, I always tell this to everybody I know. You have to post pictures of yourself. People want to know what you look like.
I know.
When I go to Instagram pages and I don't see anybody on there, I'm like, I don't even know who this person is. I know. I actually scroll through to see who the person is.
I know. So, I do the same thing.
Yeah.
I do the same thing. I think it's important. And so you're posting 3 days a week.
Yeah.
And basically your big rule, the big overarching thing is we don't do 2 bedrooms or 3 bedrooms in a week.
Right.
We do 3 different types of different shots from different rooms.
Correct. Yes. Yep.
Okay. And you're also saying that we want to make sure that the human shows up in the feed. And how often what's your formula? Is there a rule of thumb that you have with that?
It's kind of a weird one. So I'm going to just look at my phone, but when you go to Instagram and you pull up the page and you see like 6 photos, if you don't see yourself in those 6 photos, post another picture. So I guess every 6 to 8.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So every 6 to 8, you want to show up and do something.
Yeah.
And do we need to overthink the way that we are in that picture? Like, what are some of the things that you do in that picture?
Well, they're all professionally photographed. I feel better. And
okay,
when you look good, you feel good. So I have Megan take the photos of me and I'm awkward. So she's very good at that because she knows me. So she's like, okay, we can do this. um, but like maybe I have 2 outfit changes, or for example, I did a photo shoot of myself in the mansion in May 2 times, just like different photos. Sometimes I'm just sitting there
Mhm.
laughing at the wall, you know,
Right.
but you get used to it.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it takes a good photographer
Yeah.
to help you get through that
Yeah.
too. Yeah, I have experienced the same thing. I'm the longest I've been since I started podcasting. I was doing every 18 months to 2
Oh,
years
wow.
at the longest with taking new headshots and so forth. And I'm going on 3 years this summer.
Oh, wow.
But I do have the photo shoot set up for October. Because you do need to keep it fresh. And I'm
Mhm.
actually having people say to me, "Really, with that same headshot for forever?" And I'm like, "Okay, what am I going to tell you?" Right? But I agree, and I do think it's very important that the photographer is somebody that you feel. I'm going to use the word safe
Yeah.
because that's what it. You need to feel safe to be silly, safe to
Mhm.
be whatever, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, so Megan's doing it, on Thursday. She's coming to my office and we're gonna do like a little lifestyle photo shoot, and I'm excited. I mean, it's fun too. It's something
Yeah.
fun to do. So,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
And I love the whole thing. I have scheduled when I've done the um the brand shots in the past. We've rented like this place out
Mhm.
and I've literally walked in with like 10 outfit
It's
changes.
so
Like
fun.
we are here for the day. We are
Yeah.
getting 2 years worth of stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, that's how you should do it because people are very nervous and self-conscious, and we all are, but like once you get into it and, get your outfits, you feel good. So,
That's right.
it's fun.
But it is dependent on that photographer.
Right. Yeah. The patience.
Yeah, yeah.
Megan
Yes,
has
yes.
patience of a saint.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, I love it. Okay, so we are so the thing is, here we spoke a moment ago about how you're a mother of 2 children,
Mhm.
but the main feed, you're sticking to the theory, the tried and true theory of professional on the main feed.
Yeah.
Now, are you doing stories as well where you're sharing motherhood, or are you professional in your feed both on both sides all day?
Um, so if I do post any in my feed of my children, it'll be professional that Megan takes. So I have I'm very particular because Megan's photos all look, similar. So, but in the stories, I'll just literally post something that's happening right that second. It can be
Okay.
anything. If I'm eating like avocado toast, I'll just take a picture and be like, "Hey, I'm eating lunch now." I don't know. People relate to that, so it's fun.
Isn't that
And then the
bizarre?
next thing though, but then if you tag the place that you're eating at, they'll retag it and then people will
Yeah.
see it. So it's just like all about retagging or tagging, and yeah, it's a whole thing.
Well, see, and I love that little circle that you just did there because we're talking about like you have a studio in Chatham right here in New Jersey. I
Yes.
know exactly where your studio is, and it's in a beautiful little town. Chatham has a great town center and lots of nice restaurants and cafes there. It's like one of those perfect USA towns. Like, let's
Yes,
be
it
serious,
is.
right? Yeah.
It's a bubble. It's a bubble.
Exactly, right? And so the thing about it is that that's a strategy in there, right? So if
Mhm.
you're having lunch at a certain spot, you're tagging that place, but then the other people, the woman that's going to go there that afternoon with her kids and she's like a CPA, but she's like looking at their Instagram, now she's seeing, "Oh, this designer lives right here in my town, blah blah blah." So it's going in a circle, right?
Yeah, that's exactly right. Yep.
I love it. I love it. Okay, so all right, so that's on the stories. We could be more casual there and so forth. And then what about this drama and this, thing about hashtags? Do you have any, you know,
Um,
tips there?
so I used to do like 30. I think that's the max hashtags, but I've since learned in design camp last October that 5 is perfectly fine. You can do
Mm,
ones that are small and then ones that are big. Like if I type in hashtag family friendly design, that probably has like a million tags. Or a lot of good tags are like Chatham, New Jersey or Livingston, New Jersey, or just like, because that's what people are looking at for things in their town too.
right,
So
right.
yeah, local.
Okay.
Hmm.
Right, right. So, and that's, I love that you are zeroed in on that because it's, exciting if somebody from, California comments on your Instagram post that your design is beautiful, but the likelihood of them becoming and converting to a client is, 1%.
Right.
Whereas if, you've got the people in your area connecting with you, that's what you're going for, is that conversion.
Yeah, correct. That, yeah,
Uh,
that conversion.
okay. So you're talking about when you say, um, the hashtag, like, of you said long hashtag, so but you meant like a hashtag that has a lot of like hits on
Yes,
it,
a
like
lot of
it.
hits. Sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Couldn't think
yeah.
of the word.
Yeah, no, I get it, right? So I just want to make sure I understood you properly because yes, it's like SEO. If we have the most generic term ever, it's not going to mean anything.
Right.
But if we get it more targeted and there's 300 hits, for this one, but there needs to be a combination of the
Correct.
ones that are popular and the ones that are more targeted. Is that correct?
That's correct. Yeah, like almost every post I do like hashtag New Jersey interior designer because it's
Right.
it's like local, but
Hmm.
it's in between hashtag.
Yeah. Well, and because, like, listen, by the way, that is how a consumer is going to find you. A consumer isn't going to go on Instagram and say interior designer. They're going to say interior designer New Jersey, interior designer, San Diego's, interior designer Chicago, because they want to find somebody next to them. So it makes perfect sense to
Yeah.
want to do that, right?
Well, now that I'm one of the interviews you had, I can't remember who it was, but it was also about interior. Oh, who was it? She was talking about at the top of the Instagram, don't put your name because you already have your name in the. Do you know?
Right.
Yeah, and then
Darla.
Darla, yes.
Yes.
And
Darla
so I
Palmer,
did
Winglet
that like
Social.
as you guys were interviewing, I was like doing that. I'm like, okay, see, like everything I just learned from different different people. But yeah,
Exactly, exactly. I know Darla is our guru
yeah,
for social media and especially for Instagram,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
So that's good. I'll put the link for that in the show notes so
yeah,
that if you missed that episode, you can listen to it.
yeah. That was a
Now,
good one.
how about captions? What is the deal with captions? How do you
Oof.
approach that,
And
Megan?
captions are really hard. Some days I'm like, help me come with a caption. And people help me come up with a caption. Other days I like to do quotes a lot. That's like probably my number one thing. Quotes or like music quotes. And then just what's going on that day in my life. Like, oh, I got to sleep in until 7:30 a.m. This is very exciting. Like stuff like that. Relatable stuff. Yeah.
And so tell me how that works. So you're posting a photo of a professional photo. So is it something where maybe it's a photo of a bedroom that you've
Yeah.
done and now that caption you're talking about your personal life even though the photo
Right.
is a bedroom project.
Yeah,
Is that
because
right?
I'll just put like a
Interesting.
little, oh, I can't wait to sleep in when the kids get older. But then underneath all my caption will be design, Megan Pisano design. And then underneath that will be photography, Megan Balcom photography. And then
Got it.
underneath that will be hashtag the project name.
Got it.
Yeah.
Got it. Got it. Got it.
Yep.
So even though the picture is not a personal picture,
Yeah.
there's still an argument that is made where we personalize the experience that's depicted in the picture.
Right. Yeah. People know that it's not, my bedroom.
Right, right,
Yeah.
right, right, right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's interesting.
Yeah.
That's a nice tactic. I wasn't aware. I guess I probably have been passively aware of it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
not thought of it outwardly, right?
Yeah.
And then as you do it, so are you are you tagging like so you're tagging your photographer, but
Hmm.
are you tagging the furniture company that the items came from? Are you tagging the rug company that you used? Or how do you work that,
I
Megan?
tag every single person or vendor that I can in that post because you never know who's going to repost it, who's going to see it. Another thing, so back years ago when I first started, I like ordered a lot of Pottery Barn. So I always tagged them and then they retag and then they also share on their website. And that gets a lot of traction too. So if like you're just starting out and you're doing retail because getting into wholesale is like kind of challenging, um, tag those vendors like crazy. Tag those retail stores because they will repost and you'll get a lot of hits. I think
Wow.
one of my
Okay.
most one of my posts was a Pottery Barn mirror that got the most hits ever, most likes.
Wow.
So yeah,
Isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And so, but I can't leave that be. But now you have moved into purchasing
Yeah.
from trade accounts and
Mhm.
trade sources. Okay.
Yeah.
Yay.
Yeah.
Yay,
I'm in
yay.
a different world now.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's it. That's it.
Yeah.
So, but to your point, you still are tagging
For the
them and so
as
forth.
much as I can. Yeah.
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 Yeah. Now, do you ever have, um, people out there that are like, oh, where did you get that lamp? Like if you're not tagging, if it's a
All the
trade source and
time.
you're not, right?
Mhm.
So how do you handle that, Megan? Or you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because that's a kind of a conundrum,
I
right?
don't know if I handle it well, but sometimes I tell them where it's from. Sometimes I'll say, it's from a trade vendor. I'd be happy to work with you. Sometimes I ignore them, which I probably shouldn't, but
Mm, mm,
I try to get back to every single person that I can.
mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But it's a tough little dance there,
It
right?
is, yeah.
Because
I mean, usually you could just say, oh, if, or I could sell it to you because it is a trade vendor. So you could also
right,
do that.
right.
Um, but yeah, there's a few ways you can handle that.
Yeah. And the funny thing is, what's interesting is like, me, Megan, I'm constantly using the silly restaurant
Yeah.
analogies, right?
Yep.
um, the thing is that and I just did. I'm like, that could be tricky, right? That's a silly little thing in there that you have to deal with. But the reality is that if somebody were a 5-star chef at a restaurant and they posted a meal, even if somebody said, oh, where did you buy that filet mignon? They're not going to be like, this is the butcher I go to.
Right.
Like, this is the wholesale meat market that I get this from. And they're not going to care. They're like, if you want it, come into the restaurant and I'll make it for you.
Yeah.
You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so, we just, I think in this industry need to find a respectful way to say, hey, you know what? That's something through my sources, but I'm happy to source it for you,
Yeah.
right?
I feel like a lot of times people just want to start conversations too. They don't necessarily
Mm,
want to purchase the thing or they won't, but they just
right.
want to chat.
But yeah. And that's also good advice, Megan, not to get overly upset or concerned about the request and to just maybe just engage and say
Yeah.
whatever, because maybe that's all they're looking for is to be engaging with you.
Yeah.
It's fun and exciting that somebody on Instagram spoke to them or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah. Yeah. That used to be me. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It is funny though. It is
Yeah.
fun when somebody answers you on Instagram or
I
whatever,
know.
right? It's
Yeah.
like,
That's exciting. Yeah.
It's so funny because there's an influencer that I follow. Well, it's silly. I'll just tell you, it was Mike Michalowicz, and I love Mike Michalowicz. I've never met him yet. He's from Jersey. It's coming one day. It's happening. Universe. I'm just putting it out there. But he is the author of Profit First
Mhm.
and Clockwork, and the pumpkin, whatever theory, whatever. It's like all these books. I've every one of his books. I've got them all on audio, and he's just so darn smart, and he's just such a good business person. And so every once in a while, I follow his account, and I always learn something. And so every once in a while, I'll comment or I'll just high five, good idea, or blah blah blah. But I'm not also really on Instagram all the time either. And when I am, I'm paying attention to my own account and communicating with you guys, right? And so it was so funny because about 2 weeks ago, all of a sudden, I have a DM from Mike Michalowicz, and I'm just like, what? What? Like, wait, what?
Yeah, it's exciting.
Right? And so what happens is I end up messaging him back. And of course, I'm like waiting for the answer. Like, oh my God, like, is he going to answer again? Like, and then like he didn't answer. I'm like, okay, LuAnn, he's a little busy. And so then that night I checked, and then the next day I checked. And then I happened to be on his feed like 2 days later. And he's like, if you got this message from me, that was not me.
Oh.
This is not my account.
Oh no.
It was so funny. And it was basically somebody set up a
Oh
lookalike
my
account
gosh.
and made it look enough like him that it looked totally legit to me. And I was like, oh, okay, sweetie. So yeah, Mike Michalowicz did not DM you.
Oh, keep messaging him. Yeah.
Keep the faith.
You should bring him on for an interview.
I know, and I keep saying I'm going to.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, so that it's fun. Sometimes people do just want
Yeah.
to communicate, and that's okay. Take it for face
Yeah.
value. And then I think that leads us to at least what I understood to be the biggest point of your wanting to talk about Instagram today is not about creating an Instagram with 15 or 20 or 40,000 followers, but you have found it to be an actual place where your potential clients are getting to know
Yeah.
you before they pull the trigger to reach out to you. So talk to us a little bit about that.
So I was at first I was very nervous, self-conscious, shy, like I didn't want to be out there, but then I realized like people really like to see the real you, like cuz they're hiring you and they're going to be with you for like 6 to 9 months, even longer. So they want to make sure that what they're getting is like authentic and natural. And so when they see me, they usually see me on Instagram, and then I go to their house and like, oh, it's like so nice to meet you. They already know who I am pretty much, which is like really nice. And then, when I do post stories about my kids or like something funny, I always get like comments, and which is really great. Oh yeah, this happened to me too. Like it's a connection. It's a really good connection to have with people. Yeah.
Yeah. Coming from your background in sales, it's from a technical standpoint, taking cold leads to warm leads,
Yeah,
right?
because they see me active, and
Yeah.
I'm
It's
legit.
like taking well, yeah, it's not only are you legit, like a legitimate business, and they know that what you're doing and you're showing up and talking about is what what you're saying is true, but it's taking it from just a name and a website to a
Yeah,
human. And so when they, even though the first time they reach out to you, it's technically a cold lead, it actually is functioning like a warm lead because the relationship is already
right.
begun,
Yeah,
right?
so if they do reach out to me through Instagram, I have a whole process. They have to go to my website, fill out my form, and then I send them information. So, yeah, that's pretty much. And
Okay.
another thing back to
Yeah.
stories, a lot of people like to see behind the scenes, like what actually
Mm.
happens day to day, which is a fun thing to
Right.
see.
Right. And yeah, of course. Otherwise, there wouldn't be all the darn
I
shows
know.
on all the darn
Right.
channels,
Yeah.
right?
Right. Yeah.
They want to see how the wall gets knocked down and what happens when you well knock
Right.
it down and then there's something there that you
Yeah.
can't move, right?
Exactly. What do you do then?
How do you solve that
Yeah.
problem?
Well, in my world, anything's possible in interior design. So, yeah.
Exactly. So talk to me about that intake form. So somebody comes to you either on the face feed or in DM and says, "Hey, I'm interested in working with you," or "How do I work with you?" You then give them a
Hmm.
link to your
Right.
website where you have a form. And is it name, rank, and serial number, or is it a more extended
No, it's just,
Q&A?
yeah, name, address, telephone number, budget, what the project is, and how you heard about me. It's like, yeah.
Okay.
And
And when you ask the question about budget, do you ask it with drop down options like up to 20,000, up to 100,000, or do you just ask it and they have
no,
to put in
I
the
have
answer?
a multiple choice. Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
right. Okay. Tell me the multiple choice levels. I always find this
Um,
interesting to know.
oh my gosh, I think it's the first one's 25 to 50,000, then 50 to 75, and then maybe 75 and over. I haven't looked at it in a while, but I think that's what it is.
Okay. Well, and by the way, whatever it exactly is, your answer answered my question. You're not like up to 10,000. Like
Yeah.
you're basically, if I found you on Instagram and I think you're amazing and I love your designs and I love the way you show up real and all the things, if I thought that maybe I was going to hire you to pick my paint colors, which might be very important for me. But when I come over there and the thing is, what's my budget? And it says 25 to 50, if that's the first bracket, oh, okay, this is not what I thought it was, right? Like
Well, yeah,
is
kind of. People still click on that because I do offer paint consultations. So basically, that budget's like a furniture budget. Yeah.
okay. That's
Yeah.
interesting. I didn't know that you offer
Yeah.
paint consultations. So how do I know that if I come to your website for the first time? Because if I don't know that and that's what I wanted, I would be like, oh yeah, I'm not spending $25,000 to ever pick my paint.
So on my website, there's services. So paint consultation is one of
Ah,
them. And on the question and on the form, there is paint consultation, window treatment consultation, a renovation, all those things. So,
okay.
yeah.
Okay. So that's interesting. So I didn't realize that. And so the thing is, you will come out and do a paint consultation, and you will come out and simply do a window treatment
Right.
consultation. And then are you at will you do it only if you also execute the paint and the window treatment, or will you just do a consultation, pay their money, and then like they could call Window Works or they can call Monk's Painting?
I'll do the whole
How do you
thing.
do that, Megan?
I'll do the whole thing. And they are smaller jobs, but a lot of times they'll lead to bigger jobs. So that's why I do that.
Yeah.
But I also have like a great painter that I work with. So I recommend him to my clients in hopes that, they would work with him.
Right.
Yeah.
So they're not required to use your painter, but you have the
Right.
people that
I
you
have
recommend.
a team. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Yep. I love it. And then, and the thing is, I agree with you. That's no different than us at Window Works. If you say, you have, a brand new home in Short Hills or Chatham with 40 windows and you want it all motorized. Yeah, we're running with bells on. But if you say, I need a blind in my den, we're coming for that too. You know
as
what I mean?
Yeah.
Because you know what I'm going to tell you is, I know from the contacts and the friendships that I've made over the 7 years of this podcast, even the design firms that are multiple millions of dollars a year in revenue, that are doing, $7, $8, $10 million a year, and maybe have 3, 4, 5, 6 teams of interior designers. What I know to be true is, while 80% of their projects are, of, 100, 200, 300, $400,000 level, even those firms always take a handful of the $15, $20, $30,000 projects, because for exactly that reason. Now, do they take every one? No. They vet them. They make sure that all the other bells and whistles line up, but to the same way your window treatment consult or your paint consult could turn into a full, living room, dining room project, those one-off rooms that quote unquote, normally they only do the full floor or the full house, for the right client will become those. And the other thing is from a monetary standpoint, if every project in your house is a 2-year project, what's churning the dollar bills? And so big firms like that will often turn those little projects over in 2 to 3 months to keep the cash flow going. And so there's no shame in a firm of your size to do the same thing at your level.
Yeah,
right?
It just happened like last week. I did a paint consultation for a client and she hired me back to do a few rooms. So
yeah. See, yeah, it's, and the thing is, it's a combination of, there are some people that just won't get into bed with somebody on a bigger risk, on a bigger size project before they have some comfort level. And then there's also the other opportunity, the other side of it, which is some people, until they actually meet you, don't really understand what they can get by working with a full service designer. And so the person who calls for a paint consult is, you mean like, wait, you could do all that for me in the room and I don't have to run around in circles?
Right. Yeah. Yep, exactly. Right? And you also never know who they're going to refer you to. It's another thing. You never know who you're going to meet.
Yeah. I mean, you're 4 years in business and you're so smart to put the parameters and the boundaries around it, but to not close all the doors. Like your Q&A and your intake process is making sure that you're not doing every Tom, Dick, and Harry project, but you're also not just saying, nope, no to all people that don't want to do a full room at this point.
Well, I won't, if someone just needs a piece of artwork, I won't really do that. I used to. I would do anything to get photos. That's just how you start out, but now I won't.
Right. That's the thing. You build your boundaries, you build your parameters on what is profitable for you to do, what is enjoyable for you to do, what where your return on investment is. Sometimes it's in dollars, sometimes it's in referrals, which actually equals dollars, right? Sometimes it is in photography,
right? Yeah, all of that. all of that. Yeah.
Yeah. It always reminds me of the episode that we did years ago with Mikkel Welch. And I don't know if you ever listened to that episode, Megan, but Mikkel Welch, I mean, what is he's got this great TV show now that he's working with. I see it's on Instagram. He's such a nice person as well, and such a talented designer. But like in the beginning, he literally built his career by putting ads in Craigslist that I will do your design project for you as long as you let me photograph it. Like no charge. No charge. Like you have to, I don't remember off the top of my head. You got to listen to the episode again. Did he require them to make a certain investment so that he knew that the project was going to have some level of elevatedness to it? Is that a word? Some level of, scope to it. But I guarantee you it wasn't like, as long as it's a $50,000 room, I'll do it.
Yeah.
No, it was, and this is how he built his career.
Right. That reminds me. I did, I think, a few friends' homes for free or like next to nothing, just so I could get it photographed, just so I could get something out there. Yeah.
That's right. I mean, and again, I'm always all for that as long as there's the parameters around it, the boundaries, right? So when you're working with friends, you know what Sandra Funk always said, they got to come through the front door like everybody else. They have to go through the process, right? Yeah. So you might be giving away your services to them. You might be doing it for them at no charge because they are your good friends and because you have made an agreement to get the photography, but still insist that they, if you only will do business by email, then they can't text you the approvals. Like it has to still go through the process.
Yeah, but now I don't think I would work with any friends or family. It's too messy. But I do work with one good friend because it's like, do whatever you want to do. I trust you fully. She gets it.
She trusts the process.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's I know that you have a good network of designer colleagues in New Jersey. Do you find that you refer projects that aren't a great fit for you to your friends and your designer colleagues?
Absolutely,
right?
Yeah, all the time. Yep.
Yeah. I mean, that's the way around it. It's like, you don't want me to do it, but here's, Marina or somebody.
I email clients that's not a good fit. And I just say, I don't think we're a good fit, but here's some really great designers that maybe you could work with. And I give them like 2 or 3 names. Yeah.
I mean, I think that's super important. That's why I love the live events, whether it's, my live events or someone else's live events, because it is important to not only have colleagues that you trust and that have a good design aesthetic and have a good process that you can refer people to, because there's projects you don't want to do. Like you said, you don't want to work for your friends anymore, but you want your friends to have a good outcome. So you need that referral. And the other thing I often suggest to designers to do is it's very important to have the person that you like you said, you're no longer, if somebody says, hey, will you pick art for me? Just art. Like you're not going to do that, but there's somebody a year, 2 years behind you that's like, I'll do that. I'll do that.
And they should do it.
And the same. Yes, right. And so we need those referrals. And then also there's the person that's ahead of you that is literally like, yeah, I like I said, they're gonna say I only do full house projects, even though I know every single person practically to a one. It's very rare that somebody won't take, but it's not their bread and butter. It's not their wheelhouse, and they're not going to do it for the stranger, right? So when they're getting somebody that only wants their, living room with a $300,000 budget, that's a dream project for possibly you or somebody else. So they need that referral, quote unquote, down as well.
Yep.
Right. And you don't meet that without getting out of your box and going to the design events and the industry events,
I'm
right?
so into design events. I network like crazy. You just never know who you're going to meet, and it's fun. You learn so much.
Yeah. You just did the mansion in May in New Jersey, correct?
Yeah, that was fun.
What room did you do? I never got over to it this year, unfortunately.
So originally I wanted to do a bathroom, but someone else did that. So they asked if I wanted to do the entry, the front hallway. And I agreed, not knowing what I was getting myself into, but it was a lot of fun. Basically, I had to greet every single person. I think there's like 20,000 people that came. Yeah.
Holy cannoli.
But it was like the first thing that they saw, which was like bright blue wallpaper with birds on it. So it was like memorable. Yeah.
Nice,
Yeah.
nice. I remember, it's interesting that you say you had to greet everybody. I remember seeing you at
Yeah.
Window Works for the
Yeah.
lunch and learn, and you said you were doing. I was like, lady, don't do it if you're not going to be there standing in your room saying
I
hello to
know.
everybody,
Yeah. Yeah.
right?
It was exhausting, but it was a lot of fun. It was a good
Yeah,
experience.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the show houses are great experiences for all the things, right? For being able to expand your design aesthetic where you don't have a client that can say I'm afraid of that reach, I'm afraid of that like going out of the box thinking, but also for expanding your network of vendors and
Right.
trades, your designer collaborators to expand your network of designer collaborators, and then ultimately expanding your known your network of the community
Right.
of the
Yeah.
consumers, right?
So yeah, like I said before, once somebody knows your name, I think it's like 6 or 8 times, then they'll reach out
Mhm.
to you. So anywhere you can get your name out there, do it. Yeah.
That's it, that's it. We always say in sales, it's
7
7
times.
times. 7
Okay.
times they have to
7
hear you.
times.
Yep, yep, you had it right there. 7 times they have to hear your name
Yeah.
7
Yeah. Maybe
times before they're like,
did I learn that
"Oh."
from you? Maybe. I might have. Yeah.
Right? It's funny. You don't even remember. It's so funny. I remember when I think it was the first book that I wrote. I actually wrote in there, like, I think these are all my ideas, but the truth is there's no way they're all my
Yeah.
ideas. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? Like sometimes you forget where you
Yeah.
learned something, right? Like, it's just like it
Yeah.
becomes part of what you
Because you
know,
take bits
right?
and
And it's
pieces
not
from,
stealing
right.
on purpose, right? It's not stealing
Yeah.
on purpose. It's not stealing. Because I'm very big for, if I remember where I learned something, I'm calling that
Yeah.
out, right? But when you write on business, it's sort of like, well, how do
Yeah.
I know this?
Yeah. Yeah. A lot of things that just you take pieces from things that, interest you or like that you'll remember. So,
Exactly, exactly. So to wrap up, give me like your final thoughts. Someone who's out there, you're converting people on Instagram with under 4,000 followers to
mhm.
clients, and it's working for you. So final thoughts on somebody that really thinks that the only way it's going to work is like if I've got 60,000 followers, right?
If you have 60,000 followers, it's kind of intimidating. But just be authentic, be yourself. Don't try to be somebody that you're not. Because then if you show up and you're not the person that they see, they're going to, be like, wait a second. Just be you, be relatable. That's pretty much it.
Yeah,
That's pretty much how
yeah,
you run
yeah.
Instagram.
Yes, yeah. Well, I would say it's pretty much how you should run your
Yeah,
life, right,
I
Megan?
agree. Be yourself. Yep.
Be you.
Yep.
It's the one thing you have the market on.
Exactly, exactly.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate your advice today. I appreciate your ideas and your suggestions because I think it's always fun when I interview the Julia Markhams and, the Chloe Boxwoods and all of the things that have the hundreds of
Yeah.
thousands of followers. It's fun and it's exciting, but it is also very important to know that, garden variety humans, designers can really create some meaningful
Yep.
business through an average
I'm
size
just a regular
Instagram
person.
account.
Yeah.
That's it. That's good. I
Yeah.
love it. I love it. The cool thing is those other people that I've interviewed also, they're just regular people too, but they also, what I've learned is each one of them on air and off air has shared that was a driving goal
Mhm.
to create a massive social
Mhm.
media following, and that's a different goal than I'm utilizing this tool to put leads into my business,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
right? It's two different
I mean, it
objectives.
does get exciting when you have like a new follower, but yeah, I get.
Right. Oh yeah, always.
Yeah, I get that.
Always. Right. But it's what we say on the show all the time. Get to your
Yeah.
why first
Yep.
and what
Yep.
drives you. And so but the bottom line of this is that the point is that you need X amount of clients in your pipeline. And if you show up as a human in Instagram, you can get quite a few of them from
Yep.
there.
That's pretty much it.
I love it. I love it. Well, thank you, Megan, for being here today. Appreciate you so
Thank you
much.
so much. It was great to talk to you. Thank you.
I'm so glad that I got the chance to talk with Megan today, right? We've had many, many designers on the show with massive social media followings, telling us how they grew it from the ground up and telling us how they get all of their leads from it. But how many people do you know that are doing this with 4,000 followers? Okay. And I love that it's happening for her. Okay. So the thing is Megan is focused on engagement. And this is what she's telling us. Are you saying something worth listening to? Do the people who follow you want and need what you're posting and talking about? And the big one, are you forming relationships with them? There's value in getting your name in front of a massive group of people. But if you have that following and you aren't using it strategically, it's of no use anyway, whether it's 10,000 or 4,000 or 140,000, right? And Megan is proof that a small but engaged audience actually does bring you new business. So let's go over a few of the points that Megan made. The first is the value of sharing pictures of yourself and what you're doing in your real life. This is something that sometimes gets lost or overlooked. We share the beautiful photos of the projects and leave it at that. And yes, we all want your followers to see your work, but it's that human element that seems to matter, and Megan is proof in it, right? Megan's advice is to make sure you show your face every 6 to 8 photos. That's a goal that seems to make sense for me, right? You still get to share your pretty project pictures, but you also make sure that your followers are getting to know you. Think about this podcast. If you've been listening for a while, you've learned a lot, right? But you've also somewhat become invested in me, right? You probably know me because I talk to you every week from my truth. This is the same as posting and talking to your audience on Instagram, not just putting a pretty picture up, right? What if I restricted all of my comments to stripped down business aspect, never injecting my take on things, never showing when I've been surprised or when I've had an aha or I've learned something or when I think something is absolutely wrong or something is absolutely right, right? You've gotten to know me as a person. And if you've ever met me in real life, that's when you've said to yourself, oh yeah, she's just like she is on the show, right? This is the key. This is what Megan's talking about, transferring to your social media, not just the pictures. Listen, I tell you all the time, we expect you to do a good job. We expect your pictures to look pretty. That's not a differentiator, okay? People want to get to know you. Your potential clients are trying to get to know you through your social. And just seeing pictures of your work is not doing it, okay? They want to start that relationship that leads to trust, okay? Because when they're ready to call a designer, they're going to call the one they feel like they know, the one that when they meet them in real life, they feel like they already know them. Okay, not just the one with the pretty pictures. Okay, so look around. You all have beautiful feeds. What makes you different? It's you. Okay, I also love Megan's point about professional personal photography. Getting someone who knows what they're doing with this, who knows how to bring out the best in you, and who is going to help you look and feel confident is important, especially if you are self-conscious about doing that. I mean, I don't honestly know how you could not be, right? It just looks so crazy, right? But the thing is, it's important. And as I mentioned, my headshots are 3 years old, and I'm so glad that I finally have this session scheduled for October. It's long overdue, okay? And so if you've been sitting there thinking like me, it's time I do this, well, then get on it. Okay. And I'll share a tip that coincidentally, both myself and Nancy Ganskalfer have done over the last couple of years. And by the way, Nancy is a keynote sponsor of LuAnn Live in 2023 in November. So if you are wanting to meet Nancy, then come to Orlando to do that. Okay. The thing is, each of us separately at various times have scheduled photographers to take pictures for our website and our social at High Point Market. You could do the same. think about the variety of shots, you with the furniture, different things, the different showrooms, the colleagues at educational events, in addition to lifestyle shots, just sitting and having coffee and doing all the things, okay? The thing is, you don't even have to do this at a market. You could go to your local design center. Anything more than the standard headshots, giving your social media audience that peek into who you are and how you do it. Right? In fact, if you're local to me, I'm sure that either East End Interiors or Schwartz Design Showroom would be up for this. Why not? It's a win-win, especially if you tag them in your post. You get a beautiful environment, your followers get to see you in action doing the designery things, and they get a shout out in social. I love it. Now, mind you, I haven't asked Sal, Enzer, or Alexis their thoughts on this. It literally occurred to me in real time as I'm talking to you. But, when you call them and ask them if they will, just, say, I thought it would be a good idea. And then it's a win-win, right? Now, the main takeaway I want you to really take to heart is this. You don't need 100,000 followers. You don't even need 10,000 followers to use Instagram to your advantage. If you have 500 engaged followers, that is ultimately insanely better than 500,000 followers who don't care about what you're doing. Okay? So this is the good news, right? Because if you're new in business or new to Instagram, building a big following doesn't exactly happen overnight, right? But you can start today. You can start today by doing what Megan is doing, and that is building real connections with the followers that you have, targeting real clients in your area, and building a small and mighty following of people who care about what you have to say and what you're doing. Okay? One last thing before I go. If you're serious about building a full-on, expertly set up and managed Instagram, do not forget about my friend Darla Powell over at Wingnut Social, who was here on episode 861. She explained her online course, Instagram for Interior Designers. It is gold. Okay, just gold. All right. So you download it, you do it yourself. It's amazing. Detail out the wazoo. All right. It's a must listen. Go head over to that episode. We'll put it in the show notes if you are really interested in doing your Instagram the right way and having it bring business in for you. Okay. So thank you, Megan, fellow Jersey girl, for being on the show. I appreciate you. And thank you for listening. Decide to be excellent. Thank you for joining me today. This podcast is a production of LuAnn Nigara, Inc. If you want to know more about me, my books, or LuAnn University, go to LuAnnNigara.com. And if you are interested in having WindowWorks help you with your next window treatment or awning project in the New York, New Jersey metro area, go to WindowWorksNJ.com to learn more. Have an excellent day.